If you haven't watched the previous episode, the link is in the pinned comment. At the beginning of Season 3, we see the game staff members wearing red suit and black masks with square and triangle shapes. The workers carry a strange coffin and place it in front of the remaining players. Inside the coffin lies Song Gi-hun, unconscious. The players go to him and carry him to his bed. He later wakes up, but he is deeply saddened by the failure of his escape plan. At that moment, the staff come in to resume the Squid Game. Si-young attacks them, trying to stop the game, but his plan fails. They tie him to his bed and announce to the players that there are now only 60 players left, and they will play against each other. The winners will receive more than 39 billion won, and since it's in Korean currency, the players are amazed by the amount. Despite seeing many people lose their lives in this game, greed shines in their eyes, pushing them to risk their lives for a chance to win and become rich. Then the staff conduct a vote among the players, and they choose to continue with the new game. All the players return to their places and wait for the game to restart. Young and his mother Gom go to talk to Si-young and thank him for trying to help them destroy the game and escape. They tell him that the reason the plan failed was because of Dae-ho, who had the ammo for the weapons and refused to give it to the others. Si-young gets angry and looks at Dae-ho with fury, especially because he lost his close friend Jung during the escape attempt. He decides to take revenge on Dae-ho as soon as possible, and that becomes his next plan. Meanwhile, a police detective named Young is looking for the location of the Squid Game. He wants to find his brother, who had previously shot him near the game's location, because his brother is actually the creator of the Squid Game, In-ho. It's revealed that the boat's driver died the night before. The boat crew believes the driver died because he was drunk and fell into the sea. Hong-gi decides to look for a new driver and goes to the driver's room. At night, his friend Choi comes to him and says he suspects that Captain Park is the one who killed the driver to delay the trip. Hong-gi asks him why he would do that, and Choi explains that Captain Park once saved his life when his brother shot him. The next day, Hong-gi brings a new driver for the boat so they can continue their journey. However, Choi doesn't join them. He decides to stay back and gather information about Captain Park. Back on the Squid Game Island, two guards are seen going down a strange staircase to the basement. One of the staff, who turns out to be a woman, tells the other she'll explain everything about the game. They go into a secret room on the lower floor, called the Operations Room. This is where they bring the bodies of poor players who died in the game, so they can harvest and sell their organs. The game is based not only on entertainment, but also on organ trafficking. The female staff member is named Nyul, a woman who joined the game to help her young daughter move from North Korea to South Korea. Nyul had served in the North Korean army but defected and came to South Korea. She joined the game for the money, but now she's very angry with the game organizers. She recognizes player 246, who's on a trolley in front of her. She used to work with him in the same park and knows that his little daughter has cancer. He's playing in the game to get money to treat her. So, Nyul decides to help him escape from the game. The next day, the game starts again between two teams, one wearing red and one wearing blue. The game is hide and seek. The blue team hides, and the red team tries to find them. If a red team player catches a blue team player, they must eliminate them to win. But if they fail to eliminate them, they lose the challenge and are eliminated by the staff. This terrifies the players, who are now very scared, not just because they could lose their lives, but also because their friends are on the opposite team. So, some players begin trying to switch teams. Min Young goes to Jin-ho and asks her to switch teams with him, but she refuses. He tells her that she's pregnant and needs to rest, and it's better for her to stay on the blue team so she can hide. He'll be on the red team looking for her once he wins the game so he can protect her. She seems convinced, but still refuses. Then, the player Namgyo talks to his friend Min-soo, and it becomes clear that they're both addicts and used to be part of a group of 3 friends. Their third friend was named Thanos, but he lost his life in the game. Namgyo starts mocking Min-soo, calling him a failure who'll die soon in the game. Min-soo is visibly sad because he lost his lover Sayumi and his friend Thanos in the Squid Game. A little later, Gomo, a player on the blue team, goes to talk to her son Young, who is on the red team. She's worried about him because he's kind-hearted and would never kill anyone. She asks him to switch teams with her and try to escape, but he refuses because he's scared for her. She tells him to take care of himself and complete the mission so he can survive. Young says goodbye to her, hoping she will survive too. After that, the blue team starts gathering to begin the game. At that moment, Jin-ho goes to Min Young and tells him that she agrees to switch teams, but only on one condition: that he searches for her, saves her, and helps her escape. He promises to do so, gives her his shirt, and takes hers along with her knife. Meanwhile, Si-young sits waiting for all the players to leave so he can go and take revenge on Dae-ho. Even though he didn't vote for the game to continue, he still has to participate because the majority of players voted in favor. Then, the red team players begin searching for the blue team players to eliminate them. Namgyo suggests to Min-young that they work together to win faster, but Min-young refuses at first and tells Namgyo to leave him alone so he can focus. Then, player 44 appears, a woman who pretends to be spiritual and claims that spirits communicate with her to guide the way. 3 players believe her and start following her. She waves her hands in the air, pretending to talk to spirits, and tells them that the path they are on will lead to the exit. The game has more than one exit door, and each door can only be opened with 3 keys. 1 shaped like a heart, 1 like a triangle, and 1 like a square. But none of the players know this. Min-young and Namgyo are walking together and spot a blue team player in front of them. They both attack and kill him. That means each of them has killed half a player, so they still need to kill another one to win the round. They start searching for someone else to eliminate. Min-young is walking with Namgyo, and they see a blue player in front of them. They both kill him together, so each of them ends up killing half a person. Now they need to finish off another player to win the round, so they keep looking for someone else to kill. At that moment, Jin-ho, who is pregnant, arrives with 2 others, an old woman and Hyun. They all try to hide, but a red team player spots them and attacks Jin-ho, thinking she's the weakest. Jin-ho falls and injures her leg badly. Hyun gets furious and attacks the red player, killing him. Then she returns to check on Jin-ho and asks her if she'll be able to walk again. At that point, they realize that each of them has a different key. They agree to give all the keys to Hyun so she can search for the exit door while the old woman stays with Jin-ho to take care of her. Soon after, Namgyo and Min-young find another blue team player and kill him. With that, both of them win the round. They decide to head back to the players' room, but Min-young refuses. He tells Namgyo he has to find Jin-ho and help her. Namgyo laughs and asks if he loves her, and learns that Min-young truly does love her. So Namgyo agrees to help him and suggests they keep playing to eliminate more players. That way, more red team players will fail, the staff will eliminate them, and the 2 of them will win more money. Min-young agrees. The game announces that Namgyo and Min-young have won the round. Jin-ho hears the news and is overjoyed because she trusts her ex, Min-young, and believes he'll search for her and help her. She goes with Hyun and the old woman to hide in a room as Jin-ho is about to give birth. Hyun leaves them and goes off to search for the exit door. At that moment, player 44 and her team arrive at one of the rooms. She lies to her team, claiming that the spirits told her the exit door is in that room. She opens the door, sees something terrifying, and runs away quickly. Out of the room come Min-young and Namgyo, who eliminate the whole team and then continue searching for more players to kill. Player 44 goes to look for the exit door and eventually finds it. But she discovers that it requires 3 different keys to open, so she decides to search for the remaining keys. Meanwhile, player 100 is trying to escape from the red team with the help of another player. They enter a room where a female red team player is present. Player 100 abandons his friend and lets the red team player kill him. Afterward, he takes his friend's key, thinking it might help him escape, and continues on the path. Soon, he hears Min-young and Namgyo coming toward him, so he lies down and pretends to be dead. Namgyo approaches him, about to kill him, but Min-young calls out to him, so he leaves him and walks away. Player 44 arrives and sees that he's still alive. She lies to him, telling him that the spirits are guiding her to the exit. In reality, she's marking arrows on the wall to remember the path to the exit. Eventually, they reach the door, and using the 3 keys they have, they unlock it. But player 100 betrays her, laughs, and passes through the door alone, taking a key with him. She's left locked in the room. Then Minsu enters and kills her so he can continue in the game. Meanwhile, Young is looking for someone to eliminate, but he can't find anyone and is about to lose his life, until he saves another player. At the same time, Jin-ho is giving birth. Hyun decides to go search for the exit door, but a player breaks into their hiding spot, and Hyun kills him. She injures her leg in the process. Later, she finds the exit door and returns to get Jin-ho and the old woman. Suddenly, Min-young appears behind her and stabs her in the back. He's shocked to see Jin-ho in front of him and quickly closes the door on her to hide her from view. Meanwhile, Si-young is chasing Dae-ho to kill him. He runs after him, but then realizes he's been following the wrong person. Dae-ho is actually standing across from him. Daeho runs until he reaches another player who injures Daeho's leg. Daeho kills that player and takes his knife. Then Si-young appears and the two start fighting. Daeho manages to escape, but Si-young catches up to him and kills him. At that moment, Young reaches his mother and sees her with Jinho and her baby daughter. He attacks Jinho, trying to kill her, but his mother stops him and stabs him in the back. The round ends, and the staff shoot at Young because he lost the game. They also arrest Si-young before he can take his own life. Then the game masters, the wealthy elites, are revealed to be wearing the staff uniforms. They joined the game in person to experience the thrill. One of them is fascinated by how he was able to hunt down players and eliminate them after they lost. The rich people go to the office of the game director, In-ho, and thank him for letting them participate in person. They tell him the game has become very exciting and entertaining, and they're eager for the next events. The surviving players gather in the players' room. Only 25 players remain after the last game. They are informed that the prize money has now increased to 41 billion Korean won. It's time for a vote. The old woman begs them to vote to stop the game so that Jinho and her baby can escape safely, but no one listens. They're all driven by greed and want to continue the game for more money. Meanwhile, in the operations room, Newell decides to save player 246. She kills all the staff in the room except for player 16, who is a doctor. She asks him to help revive player 246. To save him, she has him draw blood from her own body to be used in the transfusion. And indeed, he does it, treating him while scared of her. After the treatment, Nyaul kills him and gives player 246 the staff uniform so he can disguise himself as one of the employees. She takes him to the staff room and gives him player 16's key so he can stay in his room. At that moment, employee 4, the head of staff, realizes something suspicious is happening. He sends staff to the operations room, where they discover that Newell and player 16 have escaped, so they decide to hunt them down. Employee 4 returns to his room and finds Nayul waiting for him. He's shocked to see her. She demands that he help her escape or she will kill the wealthy elites in In-ho's office. He agrees to help her. On the other side, Detective Yu Wang is lost at sea, trying to find the island where he was previously shot. He hopes to reach In-ho, his brother, and destroy the Squid Game once and for all. But he's failing badly until he attaches a small camera to a drone and sees an island nearby. He remembers it as the one where he was shot and suspects In-ho is there. At that time, In-ho calls Captain Park and tells him to keep Yu Wang away from the island until the game is over. That's because Park is working for In-ho and reporting all of Yu Wang's movements. At night, the old woman sits next to Si-young, mourning her son whom she killed in the game. She begs Si-young not to repeat her mistake and lose the people he loves. She tells him she doesn't want Jin-ho to lose her daughter and that she's sure Si-young can help her, just like she helped him by killing her own son to save Jin-ho and her baby. Meanwhile, Choi continues gathering information about Captain Park until he reaches his house and discovers a huge amount of money hidden under the dog's house, along with a Squid Game staff uniform. He confirms that Park is a traitor, but the police arrive at that moment and arrest Choi, taking him to the station. The next day, Si-young finds the old woman has committed suicide because she couldn't live with the guilt of killing her son. Si-young feels responsible and decides he must save Jin-ho and her daughter. Then the new game begins. It's a bridge between two statues, one of the famous girl and the other of a boy who looks like her. Each statue is holding a rope that swings in the air. The players must cross the bridge by jumping over the ropes. If they fall, they die. Everyone is tense, especially Jin-ho, because her leg is broken and she's holding her baby. Si-young decides to cross first with the baby and then come back to help Jin-ho. Nam-gyo tries to cross but fails and falls to his death. Si-young makes it across with the baby safely. The rest of the players begin crossing one by one. When player 96 reaches the other side, he starts pushing players off the bridge to eliminate them and increase his own chances of winning with Si-young. Si-young tells him he could just throw him off and win alone. Player 96 lets the others pass. Si-young then looks across and sees Min-young talking to Jin-ho, offering to help her, but she refuses. He leaves and Min-young crosses. Time is running out, so Si-young calls out to Jin-ho to come, but she tells him to stay where he is. She has decided to sacrifice everything so her daughter can live. Before Si-young can process the shock, Jin-ho looks at him and asks him to take care of her daughter. She walks to the edge, says goodbye, and throws herself off, falling to her death. Her daughter survives so she can continue in this terrifying game, even if she won't be playing it herself. The game masters decide that the baby will take her mother's place and become the new player 222, even if Si Young has to carry her through the rest of the game. Since she made it across the bridge, she officially won that round. The staff then informs Si Young that the little girl is now officially one of the players. And when the others hear this, they're shocked, because it means she'll get a share of the prize money like the rest. Driven by greed, they decide they must kill her at the first chance to increase their own share. The staff tell them they're doing well in the game so far, and as a reward, the game masters are inviting them all to a dinner that night. Meanwhile, Choi is being interrogated at the police station. They want to know why he was searching Captain Park's house. Choi tells the detective everything about the game, explaining that Park is one of the staff, and that he and his friend, Detective Yuang, were trying to shut the game down. But the detective doesn't believe him and says Choi will be sent to jail for 6 months. Back on the boat, Yuang is checking the map to find the island. Captain Park tries to mislead him by suggesting other locations. Suddenly, Park receives a phone call. Yuang watches him closely, now suspicious. The call is from the police station, and the detective tells Park that Choi had been breaking into his house and claimed there was a deadly game going on. Park realizes he's been exposed and decides to kill Yuang and his crew. At the same time, Choi calls Yuang and tells him Park is a traitor. Yuang grabs a fishing tool from the boat and sees Park in the distance killing the crew. Park attacks him, stabbing him in the back and knocking him to the ground. He demands to know the island's location, but Park refuses to talk and dies before revealing anything. Yuang then suspects that the game is very close, since Park was trying to lead them away from that area. At the Squid Game headquarters, the players start eating greedily since they've only had potatoes and water for a long time. Si Young is feeling sad because he has lost everyone he loved, and he still doesn't know how to stop this crazy game. While they're eating, the staff enter, and one of them tells them it's time to vote. The players stand up and vote to continue the game. 7 of them vote yes, meaning the game goes on. Si Young and the little girl don't vote. So the staff member says that the new game will be chosen by them, and they get to decide who will lose. Everyone gets excited because they want to choose Si Young or the little girl as the loser. But it turns out this isn't the real game. It was In-ho's trick to make them vote to continue playing. Meanwhile, Newell escapes the facility, which is located underground on a deserted island. She takes a boat along with player 246 so they can escape. She keeps her face hidden so he doesn't recognize her. Suddenly, she gets a call from employee 4, who tells her the boat has a tracker and she must return. Newell agrees to come back but insists that player 246 be allowed to escape so he can reach the hospital and save his daughter. She returns and heads back to the game to kill employee 4 and his boss. Back at the Squid Game facility, the 5 players who voted to continue the game start planning how to eliminate Si Young. They plan to choose him as the first to lose in the new game. That night, a staff member comes to take Si Young to meet with In-ho, who tells him he feels sorry for the little girl and wants to help her. He gives Si Young a knife and tells him to kill the other players in their sleep so that he and the little girl can win. Si Young takes the knife and walks back, intending to kill the players. But he suddenly sees the spirit of one of the former players, who begs him not to do it. He changes his mind and decides to compete with honor and win fairly. Meanwhile, Newell returns to the game facility and reaches employee 4's office, where she threatens him with her weapon, saying she will kill him. He agrees to help her. He deletes player 246's file from the system and tells her there's another file in the game master's office. He offers to help her get there, and she agrees. As they ride the elevator, employee 4 suddenly attacks her and a fight breaks out. The elevator doors open and close again, trapping the weapon inside alone. They continue fighting until he stabs her, nearly killing her. But then he receives a call from the staff, informing him that the final game is about to begin. Taking advantage of the distraction, Newell retrieves the weapon from the elevator and kills him. At the same time, Detective Yuang is getting close to the game location. His brother In-ho contacts him over the radio and warns him that he'll lose his life if he gets any closer. But Yuang tells him he has nothing left to lose. His only goal now is to reach the game and save the players. Then, the final game of Squid Game begins. The players are brought up to the top of a square-shaped tower, and they are told they must choose the first player to lose in the game. They choose the little girl, but Si Young refuses, so they try to convince him to let the girl lose first, and he can lose in the next round since the game has 3 stages. However, Si Young refuses to abandon the little girl, saying he's ready to defend her with his last breath. Then, Min Young talks to the rest of the players and convinces them to eliminate Minsu first. They agree. At that moment, Minsu is standing at the edge of the tower, and starts imagining his friends who died in the game. Sometimes he sees Thanos, sometimes Namgyu. He becomes terrified. He decides to let go of those memories and focus on the game. Suddenly, the players gather around him, and Min Young stabs him with a metal rod pulled from the middle of the tower and throws him off. The first stage ends. The second stage is on another tower shaped like a triangle. They move to it. Player 353 attacks Si Young, but he's scared of him and refuses to throw him off the tower. Meanwhile, out at sea, player 246 is trying to escape, but two staff members chase him down. One of them threatens to kill him if he doesn't surrender. Player 246 surrenders, and the staff member prepares his weapon to shoot. Suddenly, Detective Yu Wang appears on his boat, shoots the staff member, and rescues player 246. The player tells him he was part of Squid Game and reveals the exact location of the island, so the detective heads there quickly. Back in the game, player 100 presses the start button. They have 15 minutes to eliminate Si Young. They suggest drawing lots, and whoever loses will be thrown off the tower. Si Young agrees, and they tie one of the players with jackets to create a rope to save him in case needed. One player approaches Si Young to throw him off, but Si Young pulls out the knife he got from the game master the night before and cuts the rope, ready to throw the player off the tower. Suddenly, Min Young gets angry, decides to protect the girl, hits the player, and throws him off. He then joins Si Young and tells him the little girl is his daughter, as he had been in a relationship with Jinhua before the game started, but left her due to his debts. At that moment, the players get nervous, fearing for their own lives. They ask Si Young for forgiveness and decide to do a real lottery, but Si Young refuses. They then say they are willing to sacrifice one of them to let the others live, and they choose the weakest, player 39, and start beating him until he loses consciousness. They plan to take him to the new tower and throw him off to win, but Si Young refuses and insists on drawing lots. The players refuse because they're scared. Player 203 becomes aggressive and attacks Si Young, nearly throwing him and the girl off the tower. A fight breaks out among all the players, with each group trying to impose their will. Si Young manages to eliminate player 203, and Min Young takes down player 353, leaving only Si Young, Min Young, the little girl, player 100, and player 39, the final five in the game. They decide to get rid of player 100 because he's arrogant and could betray them at any moment. They throw him off the tower. Then player 39 gets scared, thinking they'll throw him off next to win the prize money. Si Young assures him they won't, but 39 doesn't believe him, thinking he's lying, and jumps off the tower despite Si Young and Min Young trying to stop him. Now only Si Young, Min Young, and the little girl remain, and the final level of the game is still to come. Meanwhile, in the open sea, Detective Yu Wang is finally on his way to the game location. He stops his boat midway, puts on his diving gear, and heads to the island to fight his brother, the game master. He leaves the others on the boat to call the police and report to the island's location. At the same time, Inho, the game master, detects from scanning devices that a boat is getting close to the island. He decides to activate the island evacuation plan before the police arrive. He heads to watch the final game, hoping it ends before law enforcement shows up. At that moment, Nool is in the game master's office. She finds the files of all the players and decides to burn them and take her own life because she has lost hope of ever seeing her daughter again in North Korea. She begins to burn the files, sits on the couch, and watches them go up in flames while drinking one last drink before she dies. Meanwhile, in the third and final stage of the game, Min Young decides to betray Si Young. He tells him to stay in the second stage so he can die there, and Min Young will go with the girl to the third stage and play alone. Si Young becomes worried for the girl, fearing that Min Young will definitely sacrifice her in the final round to win. But the time is running out, so he sends the girl with Min Young and runs back to the second tower. He grabs the knife from player 203's body and runs just in time to the third tower. Min Young becomes angry because he wanted to get rid of him. Min Young tells Si Young that he used to be rich, but he lost everything after people deceived him. That's why he joined this cursed game to win money, and says he's willing to do anything, even sacrifice his daughter, to win. Min Young walks to the edge of the tower and threatens to throw the girl off. Si Young is shocked that Min Young has lost his mind and drops the knife to the ground. Min Young lets go of the girl, takes the knife, and attacks Si Young. Si Young uses his jacket to defend himself, and they start fighting fiercely. After a long battle, both fall off the tower, but Si Young manages to grab the edge at the last second. Min Young grabs onto his jacket, but it tears, and Min Young falls, losing his life. Si Young climbs back up the tower thinking the game is finally over, but is shocked to see that no one has pressed the start button for the final round. Now, either he or the girl must die for the game to end. Si-young decides to sacrifice himself and let the girl live. He feels sad for her, knowing she will have a hard life after losing both her parents. He is also heartbroken that the game is still going on and people are still killing each other for money. As he stands at the edge of the tower, preparing to jump, the game hosts are watching everything, and Nool sees him too. She admires his courage for trying until the last moment to keep his promise and save the girl as he promised her mother. At that very moment, Nool had decided to take her life by setting herself on fire, but changes her mind and chooses to escape the island to search for her daughter in North Korea and bring her to live with her in South Korea. Back on the tower, Si-young lets go of the little girl and jumps, sacrificing himself so she can win, since she replaced her mother as player 222. Si-young loses his life to save the child. At that moment, Detective Yoo-wang arrives at the island. The game master orders the evacuation plan, with only 30 minutes before the island explodes. Yoo-wang enters the building and is spotted by his brother, the game master, who quickly takes the girl to escape before the building explodes. Yoo-wang tries to stop him and asks why he did all this, but the game master escapes with the girl. All the staff members also evacuate, including Nool, who hides her face so no one recognizes her. Yoo-wang escapes too, just before the island explodes completely, erasing all trace of Squid Game forever. There is no evidence left that the game ever existed. A few days later, an unknown person breaks into Si-young's room and steals over 30 billion won. 6 months later, Nool is in a park in South Korea and sees player 246. She approaches him and his daughter, but he doesn't recognize her. She tells him she used to work with him long ago and happened to pass by. She says goodbye and leaves. Nool then heads to the airport after finding out her daughter is in China, deciding to travel there and hopefully reunite with her to bring her back to live with her. At the same time, Detective Yoo-wang meets up with his friend who has just been released from jail after 6 months. On the way, Yoo-wang tells him the money from Si-young's room was stolen. They begin to suspect each other, since only the two of them and Si-young knew where the money was. When they return home, Yoo-wang discovers that the little girl is at his house, and she has a card loaded with all the money she won from the game. Yoo-wang decides to raise the girl and use the money to open a small hotel with his friends. Later, the Squid Game master appears in America. He visits the home of Si-young's daughter, named Ya-young, and tells her that her father has passed away and that he left her a gift. Inside the box is the card with all the money that was in Si-young's room. We then realize that the one who stole the money was the game master, who took it to give to Ya-young to compensate her for the loss of her father. As the game master walks away, he sees an American woman playing dakji with a poor man. If he loses, he will join Squid Game to try to pay off his debts. The game master watches her, and she looks back at him, as if they know each other. And that's where the series ends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more epic Korean drama and movie recaps.